Hello friends, a very happy Independence Day to you. Today is a very good occasion for me to bring to light certain people who may have gone forgotten. And these certain people belong to a certain community only, or let me say it directly, they are Catholics. But why talk about Catholic freedom fighters or Patriotic Catholic Goans? Because the need has come. Today the Catholic community in Goa is in such a scandal, is being targeted and termed as Portuguese leftovers or Portuguese pigs or rice bag converts. It looks like that the Goan Catholic community is being targeted, framed and to be called anti-nationals. With what happened regarding the Shivaji statue in Kalangut and the statement by Father Balmex about Shivaji Maharaj, and now what is going on, it looks like that these people are not going to rest till the day they have had the Goan society divided. We don't want to question anybody's religious belief. Treat anyone as God as you want. We have said it earlier. You try to dump that belief on us. That means if you want to accept Shivaji Maharaj, accept him only as God. Otherwise, no. And if you don't accept him, you are anti-national. You are Portuguese leftovers. You are anti this thing. You are anti-Goa, and so on and so forth. It is seen as if that the Catholic community is seen as the privileged one under the Portuguese, as if the Catholics did nothing for the freedom of Goa. But if we go back to history, that is not so. And today, let me bring to you to notice this book, Goa 1961, written by Valmiki Falero. Very interesting book, and it sheds light upon the contribution of Goan Catholics for the freedom struggle of Goa. And I am also going back to historical events, certain persons which may not have been mentioned here, and bring to light to the society here, to my viewers, that the Catholic Goans equally contributed for the liberation of Goa, for nationalism, Indian nationalism in our state. And therefore, before I go ahead, let me thank you so much for spreading the message that I had given on YouTube last time. Thank you for making it so viral. Thank you for reaching it out to so many people and for encouraging me to continue on. I want to continue on because this fight is not going to end. Our fight is not against any people. Our fight is against certain ideologies. Our people are our people, may they belong to any religion. We Goans for past 60 years have stayed so peacefully. There have been so many statues of Shivaji Maharaj erected across Goa. Nobody did anything to them. No harm, not even a single scratch. 15 years, almost 15 years now that the BJP government is in Goa. So many statues of Shivaji Maharaj were erected. Sometimes some of them just overnight without permissions, and yet nothing bad was done. It was not harmed. But this past 1 year, especially from the beginning of this year till now, what we are seeing in Goa is very, very painful. Issue happened about Shivaji Maharaj's statue vandalization in Karaspada, Mapsa. This is an issue. It's very bad that it happened. And whoever the culprit is, we hope will be caught soon. But look at the advantage this troll army has taken to spread hatred against the Catholics. how they are taking a political advantage of situations. Therefore, I have my high doubts whether this event happened just like that or whether it is pre-planned. Even the CM of our state is saying it is pre-planned. Chief Minister of Goa, Mr. Dr. Pramod Sawant, who do you think has pre-planned these activities, and why so many years nothing happened in Goa, anything like this? Why it is happening now? Why in 2023, when we know that in 24 is the elections? Where are we heading on? Just for the satisfaction of some political hungry people, look at what they are doing. Ironically, on the day where our country, India, celebrates Independence Day, the Catholic Church all over the world celebrates the feast of the Assumption of Our Lady, Mary, the Mother of Jesus. What is the story behind it? Right from the first centuries, the 3rd or the 4th century in Christian world, it was believed that Mary, after she finished her life on earth, she was put in a tomb. And after some time, when the Christians went to check the tomb, her body was not found in the tomb. And it was believed that she was taken, body and soul, into heaven. Of course, it is not same like of Jesus. Jesus ascended, that is, he had the power to ascend. Mary was assumed, that is, God lifted her up into heaven, body and soul. This feast was always celebrated on every 15th August. But in the 19th and 20th centuries, people started questioning it. And since the church got divided with Protestants and Eastern Orthodox and Catholics, all of them, this belief which existed in the church came under question. After much research, after much finding, discussions and so on and so forth, in the year 1950, Pope Pius XII declared the dogma of the Assumption of Our Lady, Mary, the Mother of our Lord Jesus. She becomes a very good symbol of freedom, of liberation. Liberation from a world, a type of life, to another life. That is the kind of freedom, liberation that we should always strive for, to become better and better every day. But the situations that are happening, if we give in to this type of people, we are not becoming better. We are destroying ourselves. So let us begin with the Catholic Goans' contribution for the liberation of Goa, also to the freedom struggle of India, and how they spread Indian nationalism among the Goans. Now, I will be only speaking about Goan Catholic or Goan Christian freedom fighters or patriotic people. If you want to know that at national level what Christians have contributed for the independence of our country, please watch the video of my friend Brother Francis, who runs a channel called Glory Apologetics. I have given the link in the description. So shall we begin? We begin with Bishop Matthew Decastro from Divar. Bishop Matthew Decastro was the first Indian bishop to be ordained as bishop by the church. Now in those days, if you remember or if you are not aware, the church was operating in the territories occupied by Portugal and Spain under something called Padroado. Padroado was the special patronage given to the Portuguese and Spanish for discovering the worlds. They would appoint their own bishops in the areas where they have occupied. But apart from that, the church had its own organization or a council called Propaganda Fide, which was looking after the mission work. Bishop Matthew Decastro was bishop appointed under this Propaganda Fide. Since he was a Goan, he realized that the Portuguese were discriminating a lot, even with the Christians. And therefore, he started protests, he started planning against the Portuguese so that they may leave, and this discrimination, which is based on caste and then based on white-skinned people and native Goans, may end. He, I would say, is the first Catholic that comes under notice when it comes to Catholic patriotism in Goa. And then we move on to those people who helped Shivaji Maharaj, since Shivaji Maharaj is part of our topic. Those people who helped Shivaji Maharaj build the navy. We have Rui Leitão Vegas and his brother Fernando Leitão Vegas, and the 300 around artisans from Sholing, Catholics who were employed by Shivaji Maharaj to build his navy. And this is why we say Shivaji Maharaj always had good relations with the Goan Christians, with the Portuguese, etc. Then we come to the Pinto Revolt in 1787. In Pinto Revolt, some priests, Catholic priests, got together to conspire against the Portuguese, and they wanted to throw down the Portuguese and build a new republic. Because the Portuguese were discriminatory, they were looting the Goans. Also in the church they were interfering and were not allowing local Goan Catholic priests to take the important positions so that they may talk and interact with their people. So the names that come here are Father Pinto, Father Caetano Francisco Couto, Father Jose Antonio Gonçalves, and there are many more. Abba de Faria, whose statue is there in Panjim, is said to be also part of this conspiracy. What happened here is around 50 of them made this conspiracy against the Portuguese, but one of them went and became an informer to the Portuguese. When the meeting was held at Father Pinto's mansion in Candoni, the Portuguese came and arrested them. After being arrested, these people were dragged on the road, tied to horses. They were taken to Panjim, where today the Panjim post office exists. And there it is said that they were beheaded, they were hanged, they were murdered, they were beheaded, and their heads were hoisted on bamboo posts. Then we come to Alberto L.R. Fernandez, who was from Kunkoni, and he was part of the Azad Gomantak Dal. He was arrested and tortured by the Portuguese on August 25th, 1954 for offering Satyagraha in Ponda, and he was then sentenced to jail, imprisonment, and then of course he had to go to prison and he was tortured there. Then we come to the famous Alfred Afonso. We all call him Tericol Vir Afonso. He was hailing from Galjiba, Kandhona. He was the one who marched towards the Tericol fort and hoisted the tricolor there, and he was arrested because of that. Then we come to Professor Aloysius Soares from Ukhasain. Working in Bombay, he was a professor of English, but he gave that up and he came here to Goa to fight for the freedom of Goa, and he started something called the Goa Liberation Council, and he was also the president of this council in 1954. Then we come to Alvaro Antonio Presosio Pereira. I hope I have pronounced that properly. He completed his studies in pharmacy, okay, and then he joined some work, but he gave that up. He came back and joined the freedom struggle of Goa. He was also associated with a lot of people. He criticized the regime of Dr. Antonio Salazar, who was the dictator of Portugal at that time, and the Margao police arrested him, put him behind bars and tortured him. Then we come to a former MLA and also minister, Anthony John DSouza. The name is Anthony John DSouza. He was born in Bombay in 1920. He joined a seminary to become a priest, but then he left and he joined the freedom struggle for Goa. He too was arrested and put behind bars. The next person that we have on the list is, he was an advocate and also a judge, Antonio Furtado. He was from Chinchini, but he was born in Carmona. He also joined the freedom struggle. He was the brother of Dr. Jose Maria Furtado, and due to his nationalist activities, he was threatened with deportation to Portugal, and he was actually deported to Angola in Africa. And then we come to Antonio Vegas. He was an associate of Luis Antonio da Costa. He was among the 75 members of the Goa freedom struggle movement, and he was arrested on 18th June 1954 because he started a satyagraha against the Portuguese. Also, a Catholic Goan woman who participated in the freedom struggle for Goa, teacher Selina Olga Muniz. She was born in Mombasa in 1926. She came to Goa and she joined the Satyagraha, the freedom movement for Goa, and she also was arrested and she was taken to the tribunal to be tried, and then she was then deported back to Africa. From there she moved to London. Next person on our list we have is Dr. Gambetta da Costa. He was a very Gandhian fellow. He followed Gandhian philosophy of non-violence, of satyagraha, and he started lot of morchas, lot of rallies against the Portuguese, demanding liberation of Goa, demanding freedom of Goa, that Portuguese may leave and give freedom to the native Goans, that they may run the state of Goa. There is one priest also who was part of the freedom struggle for Goa, Reverend Father Dr. Huberto Olimpio Mascarinas. He was from Porvorim. He was a linguist, he knew Sanskrit very well, but he joined the freedom struggle for Goa. He encouraged people from Goans who were staying in Bombay and all to join the Indian defense system, and then help the Indian defense to fight for the liberation of Goa. And then we come, my dear friends, to the Operation Vijay. In Operation Vijay, there were around 20 Goan Catholics. Of course, they were based in Bombay, who were part of this Operation Vijay. Famous name that come from there is Air Vice Marshal Elric Wilmot Pinto. He took the aircraft and he bombarded the Daboli airport so that the Portuguese may not escape. There are other names also which come into the list. We have Lieutenant Colonel Paul Bailon Fernandez. He was the captain and he headed the Black Cats motorized column of the 17th Infantry Division, taking the same route as the artillery and armor as mentioned. He was retained in Goa to help in the takeover of the administration from Sarzora. We have one more person. We have Colonel Peter Mendonsa, then a major, was the lead battery commander of the elite 17th Parachute Field Regiment, one of the only two specialized airborne artillery units in the Indian Army as part of the 50 Independent Parachute Brigade, the force that spearheaded the operation entering Goa from Dodamarg in the north in 1961. Units of the brigade were the first to reach Beti and Manastari by the same evening, 18 December 1961, from Moira. I hope you buy this book for those who don't know. And I would like to also assert once again and say, Goan Catholics have contributed equally for the freedom of Goa, for the liberation of Goa, and also the priests, they have shed their blood here. So before we take any decisions, let us think properly what we are going to do and what the future that we are going to leave for the next generation. Thank you for patiently watching.